So you're working on a video game, and now you're at the point where you need PR support, or maybe you need marketing help. Maybe you don't know. Who knows? Let's figure it out. All right, so we currently have a spreadsheet pulled up on my desktop for those of you that are just listening and not watching. And in this spreadsheet, I've created two tabs, one for marketing and one for PR. And the reason why I've done this is so that we have a better visual of the differences between marketing and PR. And sure, there are overlaps, but just to briefly touch on the differences here, PR is one service under the umbrella that is marketing. So with PR in the video game industry, more times than not, our goal is to create awareness. And I've also got it set up here in this cell. Really what we're trying to do with PR is focus on public-facing communication strategies in media relationships with a goal, again, of generating awareness for our video game. So this comes from coverage from gaming sites like Kotaku, Destructoid, Eurogamer. Anything newsworthy on the PR side, we'll compile that information into a concise message, and then we'll distribute that message to our contacts in the industry on the media side of things, and we'll also utilize distribution sites to distribute press releases. Now, with marketing, this, while it does include PR as a service, the overall goal of marketing is to create sales, and this comes from demand. We want to create demand for our video game that we're working on. So again, in this cell, I have written down anything involved in selling more games you can really consider as something that fits under the umbrella of marketing. So PR does fit under this umbrella, even though the goal might be a little bit different, the result can be the same. So with PR, we're trying to generate awareness, and this comes from organizing news beats and then sending them out to contacts within the media that we've built up relationships with. And then when they create content that amplifies or creates more exposure for our game, that in return can result in demand from potential players. So that's why it fits under one typical service that you would find a marketing professional or team doing on a daily basis. So let's go back over to the PR tab for a moment. And let's take a look, and we'll go back to marketing in a moment, but for now, let's take a look at some of the services that you would see someone in the PR, the video game PR industry. Let's take a look at some of the services that they would do on a day-to-day basis. So one of those services would be publishing press releases. And typically in a day, it's not going to be press releases. It's not going to be plural. It's going to be press release. And let's take a look at one press release. So we'll go to Games Press, and Games Press is a common distribution platform where individuals and agencies or teams rather in the PR industry will go to distribute press releases, and development teams as well. Essentially anyone in the video game industry that wants to distribute a press release, this is one of the go-to websites to do that. So we can see here that on June 22nd, Square Enix, the publisher of the upcoming game Life is Strange 2, published a press release with the headline, Life is Strange 2 is coming September 27th, 2018. So this is a release date announcement. This is one news beat, and along the production cycle, along the lifespan or the span of the production of your video game, if I can get that right, along that timeline, you're going to have a bunch of moments that are newsworthy. These are moments that you can compile into a news beat and then send that to members of the media. And the reason why we create these press releases is because it's a concise way to put your newsworthy information into a document that is distributed to media that you've targeted or you've already built up relationships with, and they can quickly read through it. They get the newsworthy information. There's no fluff, and then they can work with that. Now, typically, a press release does not include, or doesn't just include text. It usually includes some form of media, whether it be a link to a press kit that has logos, screenshots, and other information about the team. But you can see here with this press release, we have a call to action right in the middle of it. Watch the Life is Strange 2 release date reveal trailer. And there's a link to that trailer. And I've already got it pulled up here. And we can see, so this is where marketing and PR kind of overlap. So the creation of this trailer, putting this trailer together, this media asset, this is something that you could consider being under the umbrella of marketing, as the goal here is to generate demand, or get people excited about possibly purchasing Life is Strange 2. So if we play through the trailer, you can see it's a very short trailer, only 20 seconds long. But you can see it has over 200,000 views. Life is Strange is a larger IP and a much more well-known title under the publisher Square Enix. But you can see, if we go back here, the last frame, if I can pull it up, the last frame looks to be a backpack with the title of the game, and you can see it's following the same format that the original Life is Strange 2 followed, which is episodes, broken into episodes. So this is episode 1 of 5, will be released on September 27th, 2018. So this media asset was created, and then this press release was published. And this isn't the only thing that was done. I'm sure that there was also personal messages sent out individually to specific reporters that are a part of a press list of some sort over at Square Enix, or through whoever's the PR contact for Square Enix that created this press release. So whoever the contact was that created this press release, they received the trailer, put it in here in hopes that they would earn coverage. Now, let's go back to our spreadsheet. So that's one thing that you would see someone on the PR side of things doing, publishing this press release. Now, the trailer, again, going back, that would be something that would fit under marketing, as it's a media asset that is created with the result of generating demand, hopefully converting into a sale in the future. Again, that would fit under marketing. Now, establishing relationships with media and content creators. This kind of goes without saying with PR. This is kind of why, this is usually more times than not the reason why you as a video game creator would want to partner with a PR agency, is to get in front of their connections, or the members of the media that they've already built up relationships with, in hopes of generating awareness for your game. Some other things you would see a PR agency or an individual doing is organizing news beats. If we go back to this press release, we can see that this release date announcement for the first episode of Life is Strange 2, this is an organized news beat. So future news beats will be the release date announcements of episodes 2 through 5. There will also most likely be a press release for the release day. I believe, again, it was September 27th. So I would assume on September 27th, there will be a following trailer that shows a little bit more possibly gameplay, or touches a little bit on the narrative of the first episode of Life is Strange 2. And that would launch somewhere around the release day, and that would be its own news beat. But that's something that would be done through a PR professional. Sending out review copies, again, so leading up to the September 27th release date, a PR professional would reach out to their contacts and send over review keys, Steam keys. They're, in hopes of earning reviews from major gaming media sites, and also Let's Play videos from YouTubers and streams from Twitch streamers and Mixer streamers and so on and so forth. But that, again, is with the goal of earning awareness. But it also touches a bit on marketing, as that can result in earning or generating more interest in a game, more demand in your video game. So again, there is a little bit of overlap there. And now we can take a look at another service we have, creating and managing a press list. Again, going back to this press release, while this was distributed through Games Press, this is something that's done aside from messaging press. There's also a whole other side of getting the word out on the release date announcement. So I would assume whoever sent this press release out, or the team that worked on this press release, they also sent individual messages to reporters and writers that are targeted within the gaming media that they believe would be interested in covering Life is Strange 2. And this can be reporters and writers and so on and so forth. This can be individuals that covered the original Life is Strange, maybe people that really loved the original Life is Strange. So those would be great individuals to reach back out to regarding the sequel. And you can reach out to them via email, through Twitter. You can even call them. Some members of press, you can get their phone number, you give them a call if you've built up a relationship with them. But yeah, so that is typically, and this definitely doesn't cover everything that a PR agency or individual would do, but this kind of touches on some of your day-to-day services that you would provide as a PR representative. Now, going over to the marketing tab, again, PR is a service that fits under the umbrella that is marketing, as it does have an overlap in generating demand. When you're working specifically just or exclusively on PR related services, your goal is to generate awareness. But again, the overlap is that when you generate awareness, you're hitting a more broad audience. But when you do hit that broad audience, you're gonna get something to stick. Hopefully, you stick with a percentage of that broad audience that you get in front of through coverage via gaming websites like Eurogamer, GameSpot, and so on and so forth. So there is that overlap. So again, you can see just by checking this tab out, PR, and this PR tab, you can see there are so many services, and this isn't the half of it, of what a PR representative would do on a day-to-day basis to earn you awareness, to earn awareness for your video game. This can come internally if you have someone a part of your team that you want to focus on PR. These are some of the day-to-day things that they'll do just on the PR side of things. These are things that they'll do to earn awareness. But if we're focusing on marketing, there are so many things to take into account with marketing, because the overall goal, again, being generating demand for your game and really ultimately increasing the overall sales of your game. There are a lot of things that have to be done. And just like with the PR tab, we're not covering everything here. We're just covering some of the services that you would see from that you would typically see from a marketing studio or individual or freelancer. These are some of the services that you can expect from a marketing professional. So let's look at web development, and I'll talk about what I mean by web development. So you can say that's just creating a website, but there's more to it than that. And I just put in web development to be concise, but there are many things that go into web development that can fit under the umbrella of marketing. Let's take a look at a specific example of what we did for one of our first clients back in 2015, I believe it was. So let's see if I can, awesome, I've got it right here. So If you're not listening and you have this in another tab, I would recommend pulling the video back up so you can see what I'm showing here on the video. But this is a landing page hub that we created for a sci-fi action adventure game called Grav. And this game is developed by an independent studio, very talented independent studio called Monster Games. So with this update, the team put in a lot of work, and I believe it was 3 months worth of work. This game was in early access, and I don't know where it's at right now, but at the time it was in early access, and they put together this major update titled Grav Reborn. And so this is something that we branded. We branded this update instead of calling it update version 0.54. We branded it, calling it the Reborn update. Now, where we get to that marketing, the marketing side of things, we wanted to generate demand from our community and from new players, new potential players. So to begin, we created this landing page hub to make the update that they created feel very meaty. And this is something that Valve does very well. And they frequently do it with Team Fortress 2, and I'll show you an example of that after I show you our example. So if we briefly look at this landing page hub, we've got a few things going on. First, we kind of have the short description of what's included in this update. So experience Grav completely reborn with an all-new starter world, new monsters, more weapons and armor, a completely revamped UI, and much more. So just with this little bit of information here, we're conveying that this update is very, very large, very important, and is definitely worth diving back into if you haven't played Grav in a while. And if you're new to Grav, then maybe it's time to get in and start playing, because check out all this new stuff that we've just added to the game. Some of the things that you can't see here that we set up, we're tracking every single image and button, every single image and link on this page we're tracking. And we did this so we can start to piece together through all of our data that we had available to us at the time. So we had social media data, Google Analytic data, we had an email list, and we had a bunch of sources of data, and we were compiling all of that data and analyzing that data to segment our audience into what we called player personas. And when we have new monsters, new starter planet, new weapons and UI, we have these links with call to actions associated with them. What we were trying to do through data analysis is figure out, well, men ages 25 to 34, are they more interested in the new starter planet? Are they more interested in the new weapons? Is there not really a big difference in the type of content that they're interested in? Essentially, we're just making sure that we can review as much data as possible. So we could see, based off of our Google Analytics, the users and their general information, so their demographics, and we could see if there were any trends. Like, were there, men ages 25 to 34 that clicked on the first image versus other images, or maybe they clicked on this link versus the other links more times than not. And then, on the flip side, men ages, 35 to 45, they wanted to see more weapons and UI, so on and so forth. That's just a broad example. I don't have the data in front of me, and this was done, again, back in 2015, so it was a while ago. But again, we created this landing page hub in hopes of generating demand for people to get in and play Reborn. And so we didn't just release all of this information on day one. All right. And again, going back to marketing, we want to generate demand. And a great way to generate demand is to drip feed content. It's to kind of tease your community, tease the general public. And this is where PR and marketing, they go hand in hand. So if we're going to create this landing page hub, sure, our community, they're going to find it because we're going to post it on our Steam community forums. We're going to share it on our social media channels. But we want to get in front of a new audience. We want to get in front of a lot more people. And this is where PR comes in. So this is where we would reach out to major gaming publications and let them know on day one that, hey, we have this new major update coming out. We would do that through a press release. We'd send out the press release. Ideally, we would have a trailer that kind of goes over features that are associated with this major update. We were short on time and we weren't able to get a trailer done in time. But ideally, you would have a trailer associated with this major update that would go out on day one. Gaming media would pick that up. You would start getting, you would get in front of a larger audience. They would make their way to this landing page hub, and then they would see this information. So what we did is on day one, only this block and up was available. So you could see what's coming with the Reborn update. You could see these 4 screenshots, and then you could see new monsters. And these 2 blocks were not available. And then everything below was available. So we have the links to the store to buy the game, and then we have our call to action, get social, which now we don't really say get social, we just say follow us on. But regardless, this is what we had. And on day one, we have new monsters. When I click on learn more, you can see we have another landing page. And at the time, it did not say available, it didn't have the date. This is something that we updated on the final day. We unveiled each block on consecutive days. So this was day 1, this was day 2, this was day 3. So going back to this landing page, we kicked off the drip feeding of content with a contest. We wanted to engage our audience. Again, we're trying to get them interested in playing the game, and we're trying to get new people interested in playing the game. So we have our Grav Monster Naming Contest. And you can see here, this was run from October 26th to October 28th. And we let players from our community submit names. And then we had the development team go in and pick out their favorites from the community. And basically, we let our community directly affect a part of the game. So you can see we've called out the individuals that submitted each name. And yeah, so this was a fun thing, just one fun way to kick off the unveiling of this new major update in the drip feeding process. So this was on day 1. This was something you could see when you click this block. You could see the monster naming contest. When you click on these links, they would take you to a Steam community thread. Here it is. Now, for those of you that are watching, you can't see the images, but this used to be the images of each individual monster, 1 through 4, and then we just had them put 1 through 4 with the name that they wanted to submit for each monster. And we had over 100 submissions, 122 comments, but not all of them were submissions. So that was day 1. Day 2, we had a new starter planet, same deal, except this time we didn't have any sort of contest. We still have the monster naming contest going on, but we're showing off more content that's coming with the game. And the reason why we're drip feeding is because we don't want to, if we've put all of this effort into creating this content, then why lose all of the value of showing this content off on one day? So we break it out into multiple days. And then on the 3rd and final day, we have the new weapons and UI. So we have these screenshots of the new UI, and then we have the new weapons and armor laid out here. And then on the final day, which this was the final day, we announced via the community forums that the game will be, or the new update will be available later today. And you can see we had 109 thumbs up, and it was a very exciting moment. So on the final day, we got to announce the results of the monster naming contest, and then the following post was, by the way, the major update will be available later today. So again, going back to the goal of marketing, generating demand, if you're a part of the community and on day 1 you check out this landing page and there's no release date in sight. You have no idea, and you just keep seeing all of this content. Day 2, you get even more content. Day 3, even more content. And then still no idea of when it's going to come out. And then on that third day, you hear, oh, it's going to be available later today. That would be kind of like a Christmas morning. And it did very well. And if we go to our Steam charts, we can see, so this update launched in late October, if I remember correctly. It was a very late, so the 29th is when this came out. And you can see that reflected on Steam. So in October, we had an average player count of 59 people with a peak of 364. And then in November, it jumped up to 1,176 players. Now, I want to take a moment to explain how we got to this number. This wasn't just because we created a landing page hub and drip-fed content and had a contest going on. We also worked together with the development team, and Bitmonster actually worked with Valve to get a free weekend. So we timed this so that we announce the new major update, and we have the content drip fed on 3 consecutive days. And then on the final day, we have the update come out. And then shortly after, I don't think it was the same day, I think it was a few days later, a couple days later, we had the free weekend, so that when we got in front of a bunch of new players, when they would click on our Steam page and go through our Steam forums, they could see that this big major new update had just released. So this could, give them a sense of, man, these developers are very active. They create this awesome new content. The game's still in early access. I can't wait to see what they're going to create next. So again, going back to demand, that's what we did. And another example, and I'll go through this very quickly, as I kind of took a long time with the Grav update rollout info. Let's take a look here at Team Fortress 2 and a recent update that they ran, and this one is called the Jungle Inferno update, and you can see they're doing the same exact thing here. And I took this idea of drip feeding content through a landing page hub to our community. I took this idea from Valve rather, and how they do Team Fortress 2 updates. They've done this for a very long time, many years. They've done the same process. So you can see on day 1, they launched this landing page hub showing off new content, and also they launched this trailer on day 1, the Jungle Inferno trailer, which has 2.3 million views. And I've already done the due diligence of pulling up the dates when this update was announced and the coverage that it had received. So on day 1, PC Gamer, Shack News picked it up, and you can see day 2, Telegraph, IGN, VG, Video Game 247, VG 247, Polygon. You can see all of this coverage that was earned. And then also media publications, or gaming publications rather, like PC Gamer, they didn't just cover this update once, they covered it multiple times. Again, you can see here on the 20th, they covered it again. And they did this because the content was drip fed to the community and also to media. And again, going back to the PR side of things, this is where you get your overlap. So this landing page hub, the goal is to generate demand and get people excited about, jumping back into Team Fortress 2 and playing it, and then, getting in front of new players through coverage from these major gaming outlets like PC Gamer, Shack News, and IGN. You're getting in front of a very large, wide audience. So you're generating demand, but also, you're getting your community excited. And then you can see so on and so forth. Day 2, day 3, and day 4, you get your final, landing page, and this has just everything dumped in here. So yeah, you can kind of see. And if we go to, so we know October 15th through the 22nd, I believe the 16th is when it was actually announced. But if we go to October, we should see an increase, October 2017, an increase, and we do, of average players. So you can see from September to October, the average player count for Team Fortress 2 went up by 7.8%. Now, this is a greater increase. I mean, we have to go back really far to find. So the next time, since like July 2015, Team Fortress 2 hadn't seen a major increase in average players that significant since, again, going back to July 2015. So it worked out very, very well. And you can see the peak player count is 97,000 players. And they haven't achieved that, something like that, in a very long time, since November 2014. So that update did very, very well in generating demand, consumer interest, and getting players to play Team Fortress 2. So that's where you find the overlap between marketing and PR and how they go hand in hand. And let's go back to our services really quick. So data analysis, market research. Again, in marketing, with PR, you're really appealing to a very broad audience because you earn amplification from gaming outlets that decide to cover the information that you send to them, or the newsworthy information that you send to them. So if you're getting picked up by GameSpot and IGN and Kotaku, you're getting in front of their audience and or their audiences. In return, you're getting in front of a broad audience. But with marketing, you want to take your target market, whatever you've defined as your target market, and you want to start to segment that target market. You want to evaluate data, whatever data resources that you have at your disposal, whether it be social media metrics, Google Analytic data, consumer reports, also player interviews. You take information, all of this data, you compile this information, and then start to identify trends within the data that you're evaluating. And this is where you create what is called buyer personas. I like to call them player personas. And you can speak directly to these personas that you've created through advertising, through social media ads, through any sort of advertising where you control the message that's being sent out, and you can kind of define the audience that you want to speak to, and that happens consistently through social media advertising. So that's, again, diving into marketing. We're talking to a very defined audience versus PR, where the result is a lot of awareness, and also you're getting in front of a broad audience. Going to marketing, very defined. Sending out newsletters, this is something you would see a marketing professional do on a day-to-day basis. Again, you're trying to generate demand and get players interested in playing your game. So with these major updates, whether it be the Reborn update for Grav or the Jungle Inferno update for Team Fortress 2, if you had signed up for their newsletter list, this would be something that on the first day of the content delivery, you would get an email right away, that would send you to this landing page hub. And then from there on, you would consume the information, potentially become interested in playing the game again. With that being said, let's go ahead and recap everything that we just went over. I hope that helped. That was a brief overview of the overlaps and differences between marketing and PR. And my personal goal for creating this video is so that you, the video game creator, you can identify some holes within the production of your video game, and now you have a better idea within marketing and PR ways to resolve those issues. So a quick recap or example would be, maybe you're really good at web development internally. Your team has already created an excellent website that converts traffic into a newsletter sign up, and you create landing page hubs already for major updates and milestones, and you're really good with data analysis, and you already have personas created. If you're that detailed and you're already conducting surveys after play tests, and you're doing player interviews, and you've kind of got your finger on the pulse of segments of your target market, then obviously you don't need a ton of things in terms of marketing services. Maybe the one thing you're lacking is overall exposure and awareness. Then maybe you would seek support from a PR agency or an individual. On the flip side, if you've earned coverage in the past from GameSpot and PC Gamer, and it's just not, converting. You're not really feeling an effect from that. But you're good at approaching media. You've already built up some relationships. You know how to write a press release. You know how to distribute it and who to send it to. You already have content creators kind of on board and ready to play your game at launch. Then maybe it's time to reach out to an agency that covers more than just PR and handles many services that fit under the umbrella of marketing. And then again, that can include branding, advertising, data analysis, web development, so on and so forth. So again, I hope this video helps. I believe it's a great introduction to this channel. In the future, I'll be creating videos that target specific services under the marketing umbrella, and we'll do tutorials over those services. That also includes PR. So for example, we might do a future video on creating a targeted press list from the ground up using competitive research as our foundation of creating that press list. I hope you liked this video. I hope you enjoyed it. And if that's the case, please, like it and do whatever else you want to do with that. I guess I'll end the video. Actually, before I do that, pitter-pattering that you might have heard in the background, that is my dog, and let's see how she's doing. No tail wag. Okay. Well, she's a bit tired, but thanks again for watching, and I hope to have some more content ready for you on a consistent basis. And yeah, this is my monitor, by the way. So, yep. Bye.